Now, this was a very weird game for the Winnipeg Jets, in my opinion. Going into their first matchup against the Montreal Canadiens this season, Montreal has been a team that started off the season very, very hot, as we all know, but recently have been going through that slump, and just yesterday firing their head coach, Claude Julien, and also their assistant coach as well. And this wasn't going to be an interesting game going into nonetheless. I was not a big fan of the Jets, in my opinion, going into this game. I thought that this was going to be one of their toughest matchups they've had, even though the Montreal Canadiens have been on a little bit of a downslide since probably playing the Leafs earlier in the start of the season, and I was a little worried going into this game about what the defense would look like, how the offense would match up, and there were elements of the Jets game that I just didn't feel very positive about going into this game. And when the first period started, it looked like my initial intentions and thoughts of this game were right. The Jets just did not look good in this first period. And this has been a trend I've been saying on this channel in every game day reaction, recap, whatever you want to call these videos that I've done for the Jets this season. It's just been a constant struggle for the first and second period, it seems like, or at least when they are playing at a 0-0 or at a tie. The Jets, for some reason, at the start of the game, can't play well at all, basically, and it really showed. And again, I've been saying this on every game recap I've been doing as well. Nathan Beaulieu sucks, and I'm just saying, being as plain out as that. He is horrible. On the second goal, he did absolutely nothing to prevent that. Looking back, like, it just bad, awful play. And the first goal as well, just not very good at all. The whole team just looked really slow and just not very poised and polished and sharp going into that first period at all, in my opinion. And although that did end up changing as the game went on and they did look sharper, I just didn't see much improvement. The only thing I saw this game that I thought was actually pretty good improvement in overall play was the third pairing. Sam Unique drawed into this game after being scratched for basically since the start of the season, and he looked very, very poised tonight, and he didn't make a lot of mistakes, and that's something all you can really ask for from a young defenseman like that, especially coming into the way he started this season. He just did not look very good at the start, and he played pretty good today, and honestly, if we're being really honest, I really think that third pairing was one of the best pairings we had this game, and Dylan DeMello just looked pretty poised as well today. I liked that pairing of DeMello and Niku. I thought they played pretty good hockey, and even in that first period and second period, really, though the Jets didn't look as the best they could be, I still thought that they were playing pretty decent hockey at times. And getting into the decent part of this game, KFC is a god. Like, this man is so talented with scoring goals, and I'm just so happy to have him, As a guy who loves Patrick Laine and who was his favorite player on the Winnipeg Jets ever since being drafted, I gotta say that thank God we have a goal scorer like Kyle Connor, who is just elite when it comes to putting the puck in the back of the net, and he just showed that today. The second line in general was just making a lot of good plays in general. Paul Stastny had a really good game, in my opinion. He was winning a lot of battles in the corner. He had a lot of good puck possession, and he was able to really corral the puck on his stick really well at times. Even when he was being double-teamed in the corner, at times he just kept the puck on his stick and was able to throw it to the blue line, make the play, and reset the offense, and it was just good to see. If Stastny's not going to be putting up massive amounts of points, if he's going to contribute to the top six, that's exactly how I want to see a guy like Paul Stastny contribute, and he just looked good today, and I was really happy with the way he played. Marc Scheifele as well, extending his point streak, looking like a complete gem offensively. Yes, there were times where I didn't like his defensive game, but Marc Scheifele is known for his defensive game. We've talked about that before, and I'm just happy that Scheifele can continue to produce offensively at an elite level so far this season. He's been a really, really big bright spot in the Northern Division as a whole, in my opinion. He's just showing how elite he really is, and I love to see it. Also, talking on the Habs side of things, I really do miss Joel Armia. I've always missed Armia, and I always hated that trade to dump Steve Mason's contract. Not because, Joel Armia is an elite player, but I really like his game, and I think he's developed and grown as a good player, as a bottom six guy in Montreal. And although the Jets have as well developed guys like Mason Appleton to come into that role, who in my opinion does have more offensive upside than Joel Armia, it's just nice to see Armia succeeding as a past Jet, and congrats to him. And also talking about the Montreal side, as a Canucks fan, I actually didn't even realize this until the game. I don't know how I didn't see this on Twitter, but congratulations to Alex Burrows on being promoted from the AHL to an Habs assistant coach. I think that's awesome. He's one of the most underrated, hardworking players, I think, in the last 20 years. He's just so good in certain elements of the game, and I think he's going to bring a lot to the coaching and what he can bring to Montreal's roster with a lot of their young talent and develop really well. I can just only imagine how he's going to even help a guy like Brendan Gallagher in certain ways, even though Brendan Gallagher is already one of the better power forward type guys. I just really like Burrows as a player, and I think he's going to be a really good coach, and he's shown that he's got a lot of experience at teaching and just being a good overall presence on that bench. So I think Montreal really got themselves a gem in that. Alex Burrows, and adding him to their staff was a really good decision after firing Claude Julien. And I just is happy to see a guy like Alex Burrows succeed. He was recently last year inducted into the Ring of Honor, which is kind of like the retiring numbers in Vancouver, but it's more of just like, instead of retiring your number, you just go up there on the ring as you're like a really impactful player to the community, the city, and the team when you were on it. And it's just really good to see him continuing his career in the NHL as a coach now. So happy for Alex Burrows and congratulations and good luck with him, Habs fans. I think he's going to be a great fit for your team. Talking more about the Jets side of things, I've got to give a little bit of respect to Nate Thompson. I've been massively talking about how I don't like Nate Thompson in the lineup. I don't think he should be in the lineup and all this. I did in my Paul Maurice video I just made. I talked a lot about how I just don't think Nate Thompson's the best fit right now, and I got to say, he made me look like a complete goof this game. He had played really good hockey, and he was invisible, which is something that I thought he had been in the past few games he's played in, so really good to see him get that goal, get his first goal as a Jet, especially a game-winning goal against his former club. I think that's a big step in hopefully boosting his morale with the team, especially coming off that injury. So it's a good thing to see, and I'm happy for Nate Thompson. Still doesn't change my opinion about having the youth injected into the lineup, but if Nate Thompson is going to be in the lineup, I want to see him produce, and it's great to see a guy like Nate Thompson get in the game-winning goal and get his first goal as a Jet, and that was a pretty good play there set up by the fourth line. So congrats to Nate Thompson on getting his first as a Jet. And talking about more of that, getting into that Nate Thompson in that third period, the Habs, in my opinion, could have won this game. The Jets, like I said, the Jets just have this problem of not being able to play with a lead from the start of the game, and it's really keeping up the trend of this season. And it's, again, the Habs aren't the only team to blow a lead to the Jets, so Habs fans have that as a little bit of condolence from me. You're not like the only team this season to have a lead going into the third or even going into the second and mid-second and playing good hockey and have the Jets just come up from behind and bite you in the ass and take the win from you. So you guys played a good game in the first, and although you collapsed in the third period, I still think you guys played a better game compared to the last couple games, so you have a little bit of a promise there to be happy about if I had to say anything. But nonetheless, good game in my opinion for the Habs most part, other than the collapse in the third, and it was a huge collapse in the third. Pierre-Luc Dubois with a great goal generated off that power play from that turnover, and it was just really good to see him again having another goal, trying to keep the success, because I want to say a little stat right here. If it's a little bit of any type of, condolence, not condolence is the right word I should be using, but, a little bit of happiness, I guess, or whatever the word I'm looking for, I can't put to mind, a little bit easier mind, I guess I should say, is the fact that although Jack Roslovic and Patrick Laine are killing it on Columbus, they're not winning games, Columbus as a whole and as a team. They're not being successful, and it's nice to see Pierre-Luc Dubois starting to contribute offensively more with putting up points and have the Jets continuously win games as well. And I think that's something that started after this trade for a while, was having a hard time because I just kept looking at the box score, right? And I'm seeing Laine scoring goals, seeing Roslovic putting up a ton of points, and it sucks to see guys producing well, and in an opinion, you might think the Jets lost a trade or value or whatnot, whatever your thoughts are on the trade still, just realize that even if Pierre-Luc Dubois may not have the most amount of points right now, we're winning games with Pierre-Luc Dubois contributing, and that's a big key factor of the Jets right now, is the fact that after the trade, Columbus is still kind of a mediocre team in my opinion. They're getting better, and there are elements to their game that's promising, but they're not winning games consistently, while the Jets, on the other hand, are winning games consistently, and I think that's something to be very happy about for the future with Pierre-Luc Dubois as a contributing member of this club moving forward this season. So hopefully, that continues to be the trend, because I really like Pierre-Luc Dubois' game, and I'm only thinking he's going to be getting better and better as time goes on, because let's be real, coming from 2-week quarantine with barely being on a bike in your room, and that's the best you can do for exercise, and then going in to have to play NHL games, that's a pretty tough jump. So I think he's done pretty well after even coming off the injury, so got a good promise there, and I like Pierre-Luc Dubois' this game as well. Hopefully he'll be able to transition to the center spot soon, but as he's right now, I'm still okay with him playing on the wing as long as he's just keeping his conditioning and getting more comfortable with the club. But yeah, I also want to talk about Blake Wheeler this game, because in the last couple of games, Blake Wheeler has just been really earning his points on the ice, and he made a really good play after missing the empty net from center ice and beating out the icing call and centering the puck up to Scheifele for that empty net goal. It was a really good play to watch him have. He just had that really good element to his game today where, in my opinion, he didn't look super slow at times. He had a lot of poise with the puck, made good passes, and it was just a good game for Wheeler. Wheeler, in my opinion, has been on the up the last few games, and even his just overall play, he's looking more and more like the Blake Wheeler we've seen in the past. Even though there is a recession in his game, I still think that he is going to be a very good contributing player on this club. So although I was worried at the start of the season, I definitely think Blake Wheeler is getting better and better as the season progresses, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else happens within his game going into the next couple of matchups against the Vancouver Canucks and all these other matches we're going to be having coming up soon as well. Also, I think the Jets played, although they were, like I said, having a really slow first and second period, I do think that they played a good hockey game within all 3 zones. I think that there were times obviously where they might have been outplayed in their own end, not being able to keep up defensively, but for the most part, they played a pretty good shutdown in all 3 zones. They had a good possession of the neutral zone. I felt like moving the puck well. There was good play in the defensive end as well for a lot of the game at times. Even though they may have not looked that best, they still played pretty good defensive plays at time with good positioning. The offense as well had a lot of puck possession and a lot of being able to corral the puck, reset it from the boards in the corner to the blue line, and just reset the offense and go again, which is something that the Jets in the past have really struggled at doing. And same with the power play. The power play is really dynamic. Now that they don't have a trigger man and lining on the power play, everyone needs to contribute more. And in my opinion, the power play is just looking more and more poised, more and more professional, and more of an NHL caliber power play, in my opinion. And not because in the past it was a bad power play, but because now we just don't have a bunch of guys feeding Laine. We have a bunch of elite offensive weapons trying to score a goal, and that is literally the best situation for the Jets, because I've always wanted them to have a power play where not only is it feed Laine, but anyone can go at any time, and I really feel like this is probably the best power play setup and best power play we've had in a while, and that's with Pierre-Luc Dubois playing on the second power play, and I think the second power play is just as good as the first, and I think that that's very, very underrated about this club, is how good the power play has been for a lot of the season. I've criticized it at times, but in the last, I'd say couple weeks, they've looked a lot more poised, a lot more professional, and just a lot more deadlier than what we've seen in the past with the Jets, so that's also a good thing to see moving forward. And I also want to talk about Sami Niku more, because in my opinion, Sami Niku really showed what he's good at in this game. Paul Maurice said it best in the post-game interview. He really showed what he's good at in the fact that he was able to move the puck very well consistently, and not only have to come in and, because like Paul Maurice said, and it's a really good way to put it, and that's why I'm talking about Paul Maurice and what he said at the end of the post-game interview, and he said a really good thing about Sami Niku is that it's really easy for a physical type defenseman to come in after not playing it for a while and play a good game. All he's got to do is throw his weight around, play physical, and that's his job. But Sami Niku is a puck mover, and that can be difficult to jump back into a lineup. So when you have Sami Niku jump back into the lineup and play as well as he did, considering how poorly he started the season off, it's really promising moving forward with Sami Niku as a potential option to insert into the defensive lineup. Not to mention the fact that Logan Stanley played consistent hockey as well, who could have been interjected into that spot as well, but Sami Niku getting an opportunity to prove that he's still a promising defenseman potentially for the Jets for the future is something that is really promising for me as a Sami Niku fan, especially considering how poorly he started off this season. But that's going to wrap up basically my take on this game so far against the Montreal Canadiens. This was a good game for the Jets in a lot of parts, and a bad game for the Jets in a lot of parts as well. Same with the Habs, but nonetheless, it was an entertaining, weird game at the end with a good finish and a good third period of hockey. So let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, what were your thoughts on this game? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, regardless of the team you root for, definitely consider dropping a subscription. I'm trying to branch out and talk about more teams coming. I have a new video coming out soon that's going to be talking a lot about the past NHL enforcers, the greats and whatnot, and whether or not that element of the game will ever come back. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on that, definitely consider dropping a subscription and turning on notifications if you haven't already. Also, I'd like to plug my Twitter account if you want to just hear more of my takes that I don't have time to make into videos all the time, little small things that happen around the league. I have my Twitter link in the description. Definitely go give me a follow on there. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. Peace, love, and positivity as always. I will see you guys in the next video. Go Jets, go!